2020 wasn't the year anyone expected. The Down Syndrome Association turned 50. We stayed at home. We changed our plans. 50 years has seen a lot of change, growth, and shifts in perspectives and attitudes. Our rich history, achievements, and incredible stories that span those 50 years are waiting to be seen and heard.
50 years ago, things were a lot different. You know, there weren't organisations or even local groups where, you know, parents could come together and sort of I guess compare their stories or you know, ask questions, you know, to find that information about Down syndrome. So I think we just realised how lucky we are these days. But it was very inspiring, wasn't it? Looking at the families and how some of them had really fought hard to get care and provision for their kids. I think that was what struck us a lot.
I think what struck us very much was the love that came across from the siblings or the parents and the people with Down syndrome. And like Kevin says, that if things weren't available, what we were really impressed with were the families looked to set them up themselves, which we thought was amazing. And that in our time, just the accessibility that we've got to talks, webinars, and with the advent of social media, there's just so much out there that we can find things out with the click of a button.
The fact that he had a vision, I think, is really important, and he saw the ability, as you said, instead of the disability, focus, and you get what you focus on, you get more of it. And I'm sure he would have had a lot of personal satisfaction and happiness, you know, derived from doing something good for your community and for the wider world. I think that's so important. And you know, nowadays people talk about gratitude and they talk about, you know, random acts of kindness. That's obviously a very grand gesture, but I think something that I'm sure that it seems barbaric to imagine that, you know, if you were in any way different or you had a learning disability, you know, you would just be locked away.
And then they said that he had Down syndrome. She told me all the awful things that you could think of. The nurse was going to take the baby, and I just said, I want my baby back, I want my baby, I love him. But I just continued on the way I was. I gave up everything, I didn't go to work, I didn't do anything, I just brought Jason up. And I was just out to prove this nurse wrong, and this doctor, this so-called doctor, that she was wrong.
Within 2 weeks of Corin being born, I came to the Langdon Down Centre and I got lots of information. Parents 50 years ago, they couldn't do that. There wasn't any information available, really. There just wasn't. We focus on Corin being an individual, and I think that's really important.
Everybody loves her wherever we go. She's at the local preschool, and so I can see that she's going to have the opportunity to follow her heart, follow her passions. We'll encourage her in that. So I don't actually think in terms of what I imagine her to be doing, or because I want her to shape that, but I know that she can. But the things that I do think about are, I want her to love herself, and I know that she will, and I want her to follow her dreams and be happy.
I'm making some new friends now. I'm at college. I'm getting there, yes.
And the headmaster, as soon as I walked in, he said, you've got one of God's gifted children. And that was it, he just went to that school.
From the JSA work, I've been working for the information team for the last, I think it's probably 30 or 20 years now from the JSA.
I would never change my life.
Yeah.
He was worth every single moment of it. The whole hard work, the joy, the love he gave me, the pleasure he gave me, and the joy that he gave me was out of this world. I would never, ever, I'd say to any mother and father, never take notice of what anyone says. You know your child best. And if that's the case, let them do what you think is right. Never let anyone turn around and say they can't do it, because they can. And he was my heaven.
My name is Richard Bailey. I'm the curator of Shifting Perspectives. We've been working with the DSA for about 15 years now. My daughter Billy Jo was born 21 years ago now, and when she was born there was very little positive imagery that we could find about people with Down syndrome. Of course, we started this project nearly 2 years ago, and we were hoping to have all the portraits taken in time for the association's 50th birthday party. But of course, world events took over, but we're still working on it, and hopefully we'll be able to unveil the photographs soon, and you'll be able to see some beautiful portraits of people who are 50 years old and over. Hopefully our photography exhibition has been helping parents who have seen the images and will go, okay, you know, things are going to be okay.